economic development assistance if needed.
Needed. If
Last
that-
year we had it budgeted as well. Tammy didn't spend any,
Right.
correct?
And so what happens with that, if you don't spend it, then that cash is sitting there and then it decreases necessary funds coming in next year. So it can affect the levy as far as what you put back into the fund.
So it actually carries over.
It carries over if you don't use it, or you can move it back to the general fund. You have that discretion. It's at your discretion to do that as well.
Okay, great.
The next page is just, again, a depiction of where we are on what we've spent in comparison to the budget. Are there any other questions on economic development? Yep. So then the next page is your county sales tax flow. Cash flow. You have the sales tax revenue for January that came in at $158,605. There have been no expenditures spent for 2021 at this point in time. The cash reconciliation box reflects the beginning cash, what revenue has come in, and this is what our ending cash is, this 4.6 million. But we still have remaining projected revenue out there based on our budget. And we also have estimated project expenses for the Public Works Director, which gives us an unencumbered cash projected balance of the 5.3 million at this point in time. Again, those funds would carry over to future projects. However, we do have a long list, if you look at this next page, that have not been coded blue, which means they are not complete. So all of those costs are eligible to be used with those carryover funds, in addition to any new ones that have been suggested and presented to the commission. And I do believe that Gary and John are working on a list to give you as far as updated projects that need to be considered for sales tax.
Tammy, on that, I'm not sure if the commission is aware, you may be, but there's a road and bridge advisory committee that Gary and John work with closely that help make those recommendations. They have a complete evaluation numerical system to come up with the recommendations. And then once they make a recommendation and commissioners want to approve it, then Clancy will have you do a resolution adopting those to add them to that half-cent sales tax.
Okay,
There are some federal fund exchange dollars that the Public Works Department usually works with. So they take federal funds and they convert them to KDOT funds, which then takes out all of those requirements that Fed funds have in place. But you do get it, I believe it's at 90%, so you lose 10% of the funds. However, you get rid of those obligations that the federal requires, which is sometimes very helpful, especially because built into those contract costs, a lot of times are those additional costs that make up that 10%. So with that, they usually deposit those into the CIP fund. However, they are designated in those reserve lines that we showed for transportation projects. So at that point in time, the Public Works Director will come to you and request permission to use those funds towards specific projects. He has used some of the projects on this list to help fund costs when they come in a lot higher than they expected, or things have changed and they have to now revamp the project from what was originally estimated. So we do have that ability as well. At this point, that's not went away. So, that's something that the Public Works Director will keep you abreast when they do have those federal fund exchange opportunities. And then again, you can just see we've spent no dollars in comparison to the budget at this point in time. Are there any questions on that fund? Is there anything additional that you would like or feel would help you in making decisions or seeing more information?
Well, we don't know enough to ask the right questions yet.
You can always get with Tammy separately. She's good about getting back with everybody.
Yeah. Yep, so just gearing up for this next year. But I am here, my door is open. If you need anything, please feel free to come by.
okay,
you.
thank you.
Are we up and running on the live stream again?
Yes.
Okay. I just
Extra
wanted to
little
point
box
out
in
to
that
anybody
corner.
who was watching and missed that, if, well, same thing applies. If you have any questions on Tammy's presentation, door is open, as she just mentioned, so don't hesitate to reach out.
And to point out, the information's in the commission packet that's online as well.
Correct.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay, we're running a little bit behind, but I guess Janet?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm Janet Nichols from the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm here this morning with my coworker from Economic Development, George Cant. He is our Business Retention and Expansion Manager. I'm here to talk about Military Relations Committee stuff, and Fort Riley. So I've been working a lot with our Talent Strategies Coordinator, Amber Wilhelm, and today we are working on we're going to be working on a Kansas City virtual job fair for veterans. So we'll see, maybe we can recruit them to some business openings. I've also taken her to Fort Riley to meet their transition assistance program person, the USO Pathfinder group, and also Army Community Service Employment Readiness. And I've been engaging a lot with her, and it's one of the top priorities of our Economic Development Department. So that's one of the things I've been working on a lot lately. This week, the Aviation Brigade at Fort Riley had a casing ceremony for their deployment. I thought it was a little bit later in the year, but apparently they're getting going this week. So that's happening. They'll be mostly in Europe. I think one battalion is heading to Afghanistan. They finished up their computer warfighter exercise. That was mostly the division. And so also 1st Brigade, you probably heard all those booms. That wraps up this week as well. So that was 1st Brigade practicing. Yeah, they were busy. Those were some tanks. My
I thought
husband,
something was on the roof.
my husband was a tanker. So, the sound of freedom, right?
Yeah.
So, they were busy over there this past week or so. Also, we had our first MRC lunch this month with Colonel Kang. I know some of you were on board watching virtually. I thought she did a great job telling us what's going on with their new healthcare Genesis records keeping system and with their COVID mitigation as well, and the vaccines. Next month, March 3rd, hopefully at 4 Points, but I'll make the call next week as to whether or not we go live or virtual. Those invites usually go out 2 weeks before the event. So that I'm still waiting for my speaker to confirm. I'm sure he will, but he's making sure that he wants to do it. So hopefully we will have a great speaker. Yesterday, General Sims changed out the general order. I read it. I didn't see any big changes. So, so it's there's still no in-person seating and eating in restaurants or bars. It's all takeout. There's still an Aggieville ban from 9 o'clock at night till 5 in the morning, with a complete soldier curfew from 11 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. And then and no working out in off-post gyms. That's really the stuff that affects Manhattan. I didn't see any changes. So, but it was updated yesterday. And then a lot is going on there they're doing a Victory Wellness campaign, which is like also not just exercise, it's mind, body, and spirit. There's resiliency days instead of PT. Everybody gets off at 3 o'clock on Friday. And also part of that is every soldier once a year is getting a wellness check. They're likening it to going to the dentist twice a year for your checkup. If everybody has to go to the dentist, nobody thinks when you go to the dentist, oh, they have bad teeth, they must be not taking care of themselves. So now everybody's going to see a therapist for a visit. That's going off. And also the Bro Year of Honor kicks off next year. It's a year of where they're celebrating virtue, valor, and victory. Each month has a theme. They're celebrating all the Big Red 1 Medal of Honor winners. And I'm really excited. They're expecting Staff Sergeant David Bellavia. He was one of the most recent Medal of Honor winners. And he's coming. I met him at the Association of United States Army's annual meeting in 2019. He had just gotten recognized for the honor. I even held his Medal of Honor in my hand, which was, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Really nice guy. His presentation when he received it is on YouTube. If you want to watch something just amazing, watch him talking about the day that he got recognized for and what he believes. Amazing guy. So he will be here next week. It's once a month, and it's going to be a really exciting year. They are changing the name of, I think, 36 or 37 streets to the names of all the Medal of Honor winners from the Big Red One. So it's an exciting time over there for this year. And if you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to go ahead and introduce George. So.
Thank you, Janet. And good morning, Commissioners. It's great to be here. As Janet mentioned, I'm George Kent. I'm with the Chamber's Economic Development team, and my role is Business Retention and Expansion Manager. And I just wanted to introduce a little bit about what my role is so that you're fully aware of our economic development strategy and efforts at the Chamber. So in addition to business attraction and recruiting new businesses to our community, I'm in charge of working with our existing businesses that are here now to make sure that they continue to succeed, to grow and expand, and also identify those companies or organizations that may be at risk for leaving or who might be hurting in some way, to see if we can offer some kind of resource or support for those businesses. So it's a really great opportunity for us to work with some of our leading companies that are here, but also I work with nonprofit organizations, also a lot of our government entities as well, like NBAF, K-State, the Kansas Department of Agriculture. And we want these organizations to continue to grow, to hire more folks, and to really thrive in our community and be here in the long term. So a lot of it is relationship building, and it's really a great part of our economic development strategy, in addition to that attraction of new business to our community. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Also, one project that I've been working on a lot is we did a visitation program last year, the second half of last year, where we visited 54 of our largest employers and businesses in our community. And we interviewed them to get their feedback and their input on what they like about Manhattan, about Riley County, about our community as a place to do business. And this report is being finalized right now. And next month in March, we'll deliver to you the final business conditions report. That's what we're calling it, a business conditions report, with a lot of great data and input from our business community about what they like about our community, but also opportunities to enhance our climate and enhance Manhattan and Riley County as a place to do business. So we're excited to deliver that to you early next month. Do you have any questions for me at this point?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for coming, George. Question I have is, with the small business outreach that you're doing,
Yes.
are you contacting all small businesses in the area or just ones that are members of the chamber?
No, we are we're reaching out to all of them. Yes.
Okay.
So they don't have to be chamber members. And if there are small businesses that need assistance, we're glad to assist. We have provided CARES funding, support there.
Mhm.
Also helps small businesses, whether they're chamber members or not, with a PPP loan information
Okay.
and helping them with paperwork with that. So yes, any small business will support.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Is that, because it says, actually Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce, do you help like smaller town, in Ogden or Riley?
Absolutely. Yes. We, it's not just confined to Manhattan, but obviously to Riley County. We also work with businesses right across the county line as well in Potawatomi County. So it is our region or our area that we work with. Any other questions? All right. Well, we appreciate your support and partnership, and we'll look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Thanks, Janet.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Let me know what you decide in March, because I'll be attending one way or the
Oh,
other.
great.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll know next Wednesday.
Okay.
For sure.
just give me a shout out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay warm.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Next commissioner, we have Julie at 10.
2 minutes to stand up.
Yeah, you need to stretch a little.
Yeah.
It's warmer in here, but underneath the desk, it's not very warm.
How are you doing?
Good.
Oh,
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yep. Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Your
it.
eyes.
Very painless.
Yeah.
And you did do a good job with the truck question too. Like Catherine said, I meant to say St. E's, so I was like, oh. And I was like, oh.
So what's the pay period?
Yeah.
I was able to, Friday, are you in Riley or right first? Yeah. Right. It was the Friday I drove around.
Be sure and remind him of that.
Yeah,
So we give you
paperwork and some flyers.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, so I was,
So,
yeah,
Oh,
I was
instead
able
of
to
111.
go to Riley and I ate lunch at our house.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, so that'll be notice the difference.
Cute little town.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, so some people study it and some people just.
And where?
Oh,
It's just across the- across the-
okay, thank you.
Okay.
How's life going? Oh, hey,
Good.
good,
Yeah,
bud.
Tuesday, yeah.
Good.
It is 10 o'clock,
They
everybody.
have a smaller one there, and then just open this one.
Greg, it's 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's delicious. We're talking food.
I understand.
Something's not right.
It is 10 o'clock.
Hi,
Good morning.
sorry.
Before you get started, we do need to recess this board commission. Need a motion for that.
Need a motion, or, excuse me, make a motion to recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Board of Health.
Second,
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Now you can go.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so here's my monthly report, and as usual, I'm gonna start with the budget to actual. I usually have this ahead of my PowerPoint presentation, but I saved it after, but it's in your packet. So these are the explanations that Shelley has provided as to the highlighted areas under revenues and expenses. A lot of it is normal due to timing of reimbursements with our grants because we are primarily grant funded. Some of it is due to COVID. So that's kind of mixed in there, as you can see. So there's the revenues and then same with expenses. Any questions on any of that? Okay, move on to COVID update. Good news is our percent positive is declining. It has been for 4 weeks now, so that's good. We only had 17 new cases since Monday, bringing us to a total of, as of yesterday, 6,080 confirmed positives, 181 are active. We've had 5,867 recover. We did have one new death that were reported on yesterday. That brings us to a total of 32 deaths in the county. As of yesterday, the hospital was caring for 4 positive patients, 3 of which are in the ICU. Percent positive last week was 4.8%. That's down from 5% the week prior. So again, we've been trending down for the last 4 weeks. And I do have, we can talk about this later, but criteria to relax limitations on orders. We discussed that as command staff on Monday. So I have that as well. We're looking at, percent positive outbreaks in the areas, whether the healthcare system is overwhelmed. We'll look at our hospital situation. That's some of the criteria that we're looking at when looking at changing order number 19. We've been offering a number of ways to get tested in the county. Right now, Well Health is not running due to the extreme cold. So they are on pause right now until we can hopefully find them in indoor space. But usually they're available Monday through Saturdays, 9 to 5:30. We also have our RADXAP program. We have a team from the health department that is going around the county to be able to deliver saliva-based tests. And these are for asymptomatic or symptomatic individuals free of charge. Yesterday, they were at Manhattan Town Center parking lot and they gave out a little over 20 test kits. So those they can administer there at the site, or they can give them to the individual to take home and they can administer themselves and then mail it in. They usually get results within 24 to 48 hours.
Are we seeing a drop off in terms of just overall testing?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Do you
Well,
have maybe some metrics to just share on that?
Yeah.
From where we were to where we are?
as of last week and the week prior, Well Health was testing an average of 150 per day. Well, I'm sorry, the week prior to last, it was 150 per day. And then last week it was around 50 per day. So they've dropped off significantly. I haven't really talked to the doctor's offices as far as what they've been seeing with testing, but I imagine it's dropped off as well. We've just dropped off slightly with our symptomatic testing. It's stayed pretty steady. We do symptomatic testing under our tent for those that call into the screening line, and I think that stayed pretty steady. So I guess it just depends on where you're looking. But yeah, I know numbers at Well Health have dropped off dramatically. So as far as vaccine information, we are still in phase 2. We're finishing up our 65 and older. Then we can move on to, and actually we have started to move on to K through 12 educators due to the extreme cold. We did put out a poll on Monday to individuals who were invited to come on to Tuesday's clinic. We put out a poll to see if they were coming or not due to the extreme cold. We did have about 150 of them respond that they weren't going to come. And overall, I think we were a little over 200 ended up not showing to that clinic. We'll probably have the same thing happen today. Therefore, we're reallocating those doses to our K through 12 educators. So we have reached out to all of our schools in the area, USD 383, the 2 up north, and MCS. They gave us a list of all of those who want to be vaccinated. I know about 80% of the staff at USD 383 wants vaccinated, which is great to hear that most of them do want vaccinated. So we are able to get to 50% of those lists between today and tomorrow. So we're able to get them. And then of course, next week we'll finish up our, well, hopefully work toward finishing up our 65 and older. We have a big group of 65 and older. Yeah.
So with the teachers, with the school districts, are you having them come to the site to do it? Or I had heard that possibly you guys might go to the schools.
Yes, we're having about 150 of them come to the site later today. And that's from other schools up in the northern part and MCS. And then USD 383 actually has an in-service day tomorrow. So it works out really nice. We can send some of our nurses over and they're actually helping us with their nurses to be able to.
That'll be good.
Yeah, so we'll have people at the high school and then we'll also have our clinic at Hot.
Yeah, I have a question. I've been getting some questions on the, do you have enough doses for the second doses? And is that going on in the 65 and older or everyone, or how's that
It
going?
will be soon. We'll start administering those soon. The boosters that we're doing tomorrow are all mostly for those healthcare providers that need their second dose. Then we'll be able to start getting to our 65 and older who need their doses yet. They're not due for their second dose yet.
Yeah.
We actually get shipments that are designated for boosters. So we'll get a shipment designated for new or first dose and then one for the second. So we usually get anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 a week of our doses. So.
Okay, so that's they're separate from.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. They're designated for that. So.
And you contact everybody by email or text or how do you
Email
do it?
and text and a phone call through that.
And a phone call too.
Yeah. And we have a lot of help from IT to be able to do that. We're very grateful to that department for helping us with that. So this just kind of reiterates some of the testing that's available in the community. All of this is free testing. So Well Health, we do symptomatic testing at the health department during the weekdays. So they just call that number. That number has been consistent since the beginning of this pandemic. So we do have staff that answers that call line. We do those tests with our nasal swab, and that's instant turnaround. That's our Abbott rapid test machine. And then, like I mentioned, the RADx program is going to places in Manhattan and also outside of Manhattan. They have plans to visit Randolph, Leonardville, and Ogden more often throughout the month of February and probably throughout the month of March as well. And that is with the saliva kits where they can mail those in and get pretty quick turnaround. Then the rest of my presentation is just health department stuff. I say just health department stuff. Non-COVID related. Yeah.
Now you're gonna hear it from the rest of the
I
staff.
So most of these are the same slides that I had in last month because they haven't really changed. We don't have any other grants that we're looking at right now other than the aid to local, which is huge. That supplies funding for most of our programs. So
It's that time of year again.
yes, that time of year. March 15th is our deadline. So with help of the supervisors, we're working through these to get those submitted. Program updates. This looks very similar to what you saw last month. WIC, their waivers have been extended through mid-May, so they are continuing with their phone calls to their clients instead of in person. They continue to be busy with new applicants. They did have their biannual state evaluation in January. It went very well. MCH continues to assist with food distribution for our families and individuals in quarantine and isolation. They're also working with Manhattan Soup Kitchen to provide meals for their clients and other programs clients as well. Clinic is really busy, mainly it's vaccination for the clinics. And they're still helping with COVID swabbing and then their regular appointments too that we have to be able to provide with the grant. Childcare licensing, they're actually continuing business as usual. Some things were on hold for a while. Now they're able to make all their visits in a safe manner. And if they answer questions from providers daily about quarantine and isolation and questions about the vaccination, which hopefully we'll be able to get that out to the providers very soon. And then Raising Riley, they're continuing business as usual, mainly via Zoom. And their staff has all been trained in their new curriculum, which is the Circle of Security training. So they're starting those classes now too. Staff updates. We did offer the health educator position to Shanika Rose. She started on Tuesday. Shanika was our chronic disease risk reduction coordinator. This was an internal move. We had offered this position to another person. That's why you may have saw this. It was on my slide the last month. And she actually declined the offer. So Shanika, she started on Tuesday. She will be great in that position. We also hired an IRIS coordinator. This is a new position. Chelsea Mann Warren was one of our lead contact tracers. So this was an internal hire as well. She started last week in the Raising Riley department. And then another one that I'm going to talk to you about here a little bit is the chronic disease risk reduction position. We now have that open. And that's everything for this. Any questions on?
I know you've done tests in North County. Is there any thought of trying to set up vaccinations at some point in North County?
Yeah, I've had some conversations with Bob Koppel because he's extended the offer to help out if we want to do any remote clinics. Right now, we're really focused on, getting through that 65 and older population and getting through phase 2 so we can move on to phase 3 with those with medical conditions. But yeah, that's something that we're looking at in the future is hopefully to provide maybe some remote clinics.
And if somebody's, the homebound ones, if you can still, they can still submit whatever it is, to get them delivered homebound for
Yes.
some people who can't get out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've done already about 60 homebound.
I know you had sketched some last week, but they can still, if they need, if they don't think they can make it in, they can get their name in, get delivered to them.
Absolutely. Yep. We'll get to them as soon as we can. Any other questions on that? Okay, we're going to move on. Another request to fill the CDRR position. So again, this is a chronic disease risk reduction program or coordinator position. This position is part-time and it's fully grant funded. Now we were able to supplement Shanika's additional 15 hours to make her full-time with the CARES funding for COVID because she was answering the call line and also answering our Gmail account, which is it keeps her pretty busy. Since the CARES funds are up now, we are able to supplement her position that extra 15 hours with ELC funding that's extended CARES funding, basic kind of extended funding through KDHE. And that grant lasts until the end of this year. So this position will be full-time, but it doesn't require any additional funding from the county. It will be full-time through December, but then it will go back to part-time, if that makes sense.
I have a clarification of that, so I didn't know that. So I need to write the position exactly how it is for the federal standards lay with that. So is it a temporarily full-time position? And you said till the end of this year?
Yes.
So we're looking at over 1,000 hours. if there wasn't, yeah, so this would need to have benefits included. Shanika's position do not have benefits included. I can look at this, let me just look though, because I didn't,
Okay.
if we can still make it temporary and we know there's an end date, we might be able to not pay benefits, but we need to be aware of that. So I didn't,
Okay.
and I didn't realize that was continuing, I thought it was done with the CARES, so. I-
Okay,
But
Yeah,
it sounds like to
likewise.
me, we probably need to table this particular motion for some further dialogue.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, the 25 hours is fully grant funded, and that part-time position and I apologize, Julie, I guess I should have asked if that's gonna continue, but that position can continue and would be exactly the same, and there'd be no other extra expenses to that. It would just be whether or not you need it to be full-time, or temporarily full-time, or,
So what do we need to do with this today? That's my question.
well, I
But
would
let
say you can
staff
either,
clarify it and come back to the board.
okay, table.
So we don't need to make a motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Back with it.
Okay, so I have one more. This is from Jan. She submitted this. This is our, and it's supposed to say fiscal year 2022 early childhood grant, block grant application. So there's a lot of background to this, which I'm not going to read to you, but the main thing is this funds most of their programs activities. And you can see here under the fiscal impact that it does fund their personnel, programmatic expenses, commodities, contracts, and scholarships. For fiscal year 2021, sorry, I'm going to back up here. It runs July 1 through June 30th. And for this year, the program was funded a little over $756,000. Now they're requesting for this next year, a little over $758,000. In fiscal year 2021, it did require a 20% match as it does now. And 15% was provided by Riley County, with the remaining of the 5% coming from in-kind. And also, side note, Raising Riley does currently provide 10% indirect costs from our grant funds to Riley County. So the motion here would be if you would allow us to submit the grant application, knowing that there is a 15% match.
And you said that was in the budget for 21
Yes.
match amount, okay.
A couple of questions. Being married to a 20-year kindergarten teacher, I noticed the kindergarten, it says it's 383, but are others outside that district, a part of
Welcome.
that?
Yes,
It's just run through 383, but it's
Yes.
open to the rest of them.
absolutely. Yep. Anyone in the county.
And on their grant application, page 2, Leonardville is in 378, not 384.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll make note of that.
It's in the application itself.
Is it on this page?
No, it's not that where you are.
go up a little, Julie, to the previous page.
Oh. Oh, I
right
see it.
there.
Okay, I'll have her look at that.
But also,
It does say 378 there.
I know it says 378 Riley, 384 Randolph, and Leonardville. Leonardville is actually in 378.
Oh, okay.
And does the Fort Riley schools aren't a part of that?
No.
Okay. I wanted on that 383, any of this stuff, since it is partly in like 383, it's partly in Pot County, does that cause a problem, or how does that work?
They're also technically in Wabunsee County too.
Yeah, no, it causes a problem.
They usually state the home county
Yeah.
makes responsible for it, just like we're responsible for the elections, even though they go into other counties, since we're the home county of that school district.
Oh, okay. So the same way with Randolph, because there's a lot of, that's almost probably 50-50 Pot County and Riley.
Yep.
This is an item we'll have to have a motion on.
Okay. We did. Go back to the other page here. I can Excuse me. I'd move to approve the application, the grant application.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion, questions, dialogue? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Then we'll need a motion to recess to the Board of Health and return to the Board of Commission.
Okay, I'd make a motion to recess as the Board of Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did we have another item while Julie's here? Is that correct?
We have a motion for executive, I'd like to ask for a motion for executive session. Do that.
It's your turn.
Okay. Make the motion to move to executive session. How much? We have to see it, don't we have to see it?
Well, no, we haven't actually made the motion yet. It wasn't on the actual agenda, so we need to actually make the motion, put it on the agenda, and then go through the formal process.
Okay.
Correct?
That's it.
Move
Okay.
move to add an executive
Okay,
session to the
I moved
agenda.
So that's what we're
Okay.
doing first. Need a second for that.
We're move an executive session to the agenda.
Yeah, I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we can go ahead and make the actual
We need
motions. I'll move that the county commissioners, including Chairman Ford, Commissioner McKinley, Commissioner Foki, along with Clancy Holman, Riley County Counselor, and Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Manager, recess into executive session pursuant to non-elected personnel matters and exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act on a performance matter to protect the privacy of the individual. The open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:40 a.m. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Know the whole specific rules for all
Well,
those.
Okay, we're good?
Okay.
Good, go for it.
Okay, I move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. All right.
Did you make the other motion?
Oh, yeah. Also need to move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
No second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That takes care of that. And if I'm not mistaken, it was our last agenda item. Discussions on anything else?
I do have something.
Okay.
Commissioners, I wanted to just run past you, where Julie mentioned about well health and finding space. It's possible you may be able to come up with, possible, not guaranteeing it, might be able to come up with an agreement that would allow well health in alternate care sites.
Yeah.
I'd like to, if you wouldn't mind, we don't have another meeting until next Thursday. And it seems to me it might be a good idea for you to authorize the chairman if we develop an agreement that allows that to happen, an amendment to the existing lease. If that happens, I'd like to ask that you authorize the chairman to sign that on his own, not in a regular meeting, and I obviously will bring it back to you so you can see it. But in the interest of possibly having something in place before next Thursday, that's why I'm making that request.
Okay, I didn't hear the first part of that, what you were
All right.
saying.
Yeah, you're kind of hard to hear with.
Everybody's
Sorry, well,
That's
I
why
was
I
also
was
off to
leaning
the-
towards you.
Also off to the side, we have an existing master lease in place that allows the county to use the facility there on New Hope Church.
Oh,
And that's where the alternate care site is. There's a possibility we may be able to come up with an arrangement where well health, the ones that are doing the saliva testing, will be able to come in out of the cold and use that space. Possibly. I don't know that that's going to happen. There's going to have to be an agreement signed between the various parties. That includes Riley County. Since we don't have another meeting between now and next Thursday, I'd like to ask the board to give the chairman authority, if I come up with an agreement that appears to meet the requirements of that, such a document. If that happens, I would like to have the board's authority to have the chairman go ahead and sign it before next Thursday. And then I'd bring it into, that would allow them to get in there earlier,
Yeah.
potentially. I can't say this enough, potentially, because it is a contract the parties will have to agree to. But if you wouldn't mind, I would like to ask, I guess, for a motion or consensus that if I bring such a contract that's acceptable from my point of view, that you can authorize the chairman to sign it, even outside of the regular meeting, and then I'll bring it back to you so you can see it.
And I'll further with a quick dialogue, but this conversation did come up during our community leaders meeting on Monday of having that indoor site. It was an alternative care site. We didn't use it for such, but who knows how long the weather's going to do what it's going to do. So at least, for the rest of the winter and the early part of spring, we have an indoor location to go to. And we all thought that would be an appropriate spot right now. So
There's a lot of parking there. So.
there is, and it is kind of off-site there too. And it's that old Regency
old
building.
building.
There's no building there at this point in time, but yeah, it's back in there far enough to where it won't bother Ready System. And they can go into the actual other parking lot there off street. So
And I think that's fine. Do we
Yeah.
need a motion?
If I could
Yeah.
get a motion, that'd be great.
Okay, I get a motion to allow the chairman to sign the contract for the ACS site for a testing facility if such contract comes through before the next meeting.
I would second that.
okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you very much for that accommodation. I apologize that I was standing about a foot and a half off mic. The first part of my explanation was just brilliant.
The first version was much better than the second.
I kind of thought that
Because we
too.
couldn't hear that.
Yeah. Boy, did you miss something? Thanks very much.
Thanks, Clancy.
Okay, is there anything else? keep in mind, we aren't gonna meet again until Thursday, so, President's Day.
Nice, beautiful weekend to have a long weekend.
Well, it's the coldest weekend of the year, so you can
No
make of that
sports
too.
on to
Yeah.
watch, no nothing.
That's a good time to curl up in front of the fireplace, I guess.
Can't exactly get out and start in the garden, can we?
Yeah.
Good luck tilling.
Yeah. Got to bounce around.
Hope you have a
little bit.
jackhammer.
Wow. That went
That's
downhill in a
crazy.
hurry. I don't have anything else to speak of at the moment. If you do come up with some topics for the joint county city meeting, let Rich know. I've got a couple things, I guess I emailed that he can transfer over to you in terms of legislation. That's about it.
I'll do that.
There is nothing else. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn until next Thursday.
So I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting, this meeting.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.